Hi everyone, it's Macintosh, and I have kept a really special project for this month, which I actually wanted to do for a long time, which is upgrading my Macintosh SE to its maximum configuration. So I've already dismantled my Mac. I have discharged the CRT and removed the logic board. You can see how to do all that in my in-depth video about the Macintosh SE. And what I got here is an accelerator board for the Mac SE. This actually has a 6830 processor, which essentially upgrades it to an SE30. Why do I not use just an SE30 for that? Well, because the Mac SE has two ports for two floppy drives, which means I'm gonna install the accelerator board. I'm gonna build in an internal hard drive with my SCSI2SD, and on top of that I'm gonna add two floppy drives. I have here the 800K drive, which I will build in as the upper floppy, and then I have the 1.4 megabyte drive, because this board has already been upgraded to a high density floppy drive by changing these three chips. I also have a video about that on my channel, so you can see how to do that. And yeah, let's put it together and hope everything runs well. So the first thing I actually did was removing the cover from the second floppy drive slit, which is here in front. You can see this. This is hidden in the front bezel of the Mac SE, and I just took it out by removing the little metal plate that holds it in place. That's that one, in order to open up the slit. And the installation of the two floppy drives is actually the first thing I'm going to do. So I want the high density drive to be the lower drive, I told you, so I'll put it here below, and I will put the 800K drive as the upper drive. Now it goes that way. Now this situation here worries me a bit, because if the upper drive gets loose inside the case when I move it, it might harm the CRT, the whole interior, really badly. So I need to make sure that these two are really tight together, which is why I added some double-sided 3M tape here in order to hold them together. And I will also add an additional safety net, which will be a cable tie, a zip tie, in order to fix those two drives together. I've never seen the original dual floppy configuration of the Mac SE, so I do not know how they solved this in the original one. But yeah, I think with this two safety measures I should be rather safe. Let's just get this stupid cover off. Alright, so, and now I'm putting them together. Like I said, this is the lower drive, this is the upper drive. They hook in here, and then I will push them together, and it's already really tight. And now, as an additional measure, I will add a cable zip tie, which goes here. I will need two because one is too short, obviously. So I will put this in here, put this here, and I will just tightening these ends together. All right, great. So with the double-sided tape and the cable tie, I think we should be safe for installation, which is, I'll move the camera just a tiny bit, the next thing I'm gonna do. So I will actually put the cable inside here, fitted, and then they're fixed in place with these 4 screws. Okay, the dual floppy configuration has been installed. Now, I will move to the logic board. Move the camera a bit. There we go. Zoom in. So that's a great thing about the Mac SE, that it has this expansion slot. You can just add on video cards or accelerators like this one. Like I said, this has the 68K30 processor on it and additional 4 megs of RAM. Then we have this little jumper here for the RAM configuration. It says 4816. So it's set to 408, I think. Should be correct. And here we have, I think, 1 megabyte only installed. So let's see if this will end up. Also on this side, I have these 2 nylon risers, which will hold the accelerator in place on the other side. And I will just push it on here. And that's about it. Now I'll turn it around and fix these risers with the corresponding screws. Done. All right, so the accelerator board has been installed, and now we'll put it all back together. So this next step will be installing the logic board again. So here we have it. There is, of course, the plug for the speaker, which goes here, and then we'll smoothly put it back in. One side first. Make sure that these holes line up on the other side, and then just slide it down real carefully. Oh, come on. Okay, it doesn't want to. Now we have it. So the logic board is back in place. Okay, so I've just adjusted the camera a little bit in order for you to better see what I'm doing in here. So the next thing will be plugging in the connection to from the logic board to the analog board, which is this cable here. Then I will plug in both floppy drives. As mentioned already in my in-depth video, there is the yellow ribbon cable and the red ribbon cable. This indicates the priority. So we'll install the yellow ribbon cable for the drive with the higher priority, which is the lower drive. This one here. And it goes into the connection for the lower drive. This is for the boot priority, which means so the logic board will look for this drive first. So if I have a floppy disk, a boot disk installed in this drive, inserted in this drive, sorry, then it will boot from the floppy disk, and this takes priority over the secondary floppy drive and over the SCSI2SD/hard drive. So I will also plug in the secondary floppy drive. Okay, so now both drives are connected. Next up, I will insert the SCSI2SD. So I have this 3D printed bracket here that holds the SCSI2SD, and that connects here to the extension slit in the back, which makes the SCSI2SD accessible from the outside. Now this is important because eventually I want to change some configuration or change the SD card of the SCSI2SD, and that way I can access both really smoothly from the outside and don't have to remove the SCSI2SD all the time in order to access these two things. All right. Now, the next part is probably the trickiest part, which is installing this SCSI ribbon cable, because now it's getting really crowded in there. So there is not much space left, and I'll just have to check which direction I have to install the cable. Okay, because these SCSI cables have this little plastic piece here that indicates the way they need to be installed. So we'll plug in the logic board side first, because it's the trickier one to get to. It's a bit of fiddling around, and there we go. So the inner side has been installed, and then I will also plug in the SCSI2SD side. All right, done. So now everything is connected. This Mac SE is now maxed out, and now I'm going to put it back together, turn it on, and see if everything works. Everything has been reassembled, and now I'll turn it on. Bong is a good sign. SCSI2SD is working as well. So you see I'm booting into system 755. And now we're gonna test if both floppy drives work. Now this finally allows me to copy directly from floppy to floppy, have two different floppy disk drives to test different types of floppy disks. I have here an 800K disk and a HD disk with 1.4 megabytes. So let's try this immediately. I will try the upper drive because that one is new, and it immediately recognizes the disk. 800K available. Great. So let's eject. It's on your special. Perfect. And the high density drive is the lower one. Let's see what's that doing. It is still loading. There we go. And it asks me to format it in the 1.4 megabyte side. Let's just initialize it. And the drive is working. Perfect. That means the upgrade worked. As soon as this initialization process has been finished, I will just check the RAM configuration it recognizes. Before I had 1 megabyte of RAM on the logic board, so now it should read 4 megabytes, because what I found on the internet is that the Mac SE system-wise doesn't recognize more than 4 megabytes, although in the background it can be upgraded to 16 megabytes of RAM. So even if you max it out, the system probably only shows 4 megabytes. Now, as per current configuration, we should have 5 megabytes installed, but again, I think it will only say 4 megabytes. Oh, the initialization failed. Okay, I will try that later. Play around with the drive. Let's check the memory. Says 4 megabytes of RAM. Perfect. So I'll just have to check what's with the high density drive, but this Macintosh SE is successfully maxed out. Great. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day. Take care. Bye.